Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, any and all in between. It's appreciated. Yeah, there's always some worthy talking points when it comes to big fight weeks, and today is no exception. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, this week has been a week of fight announcements. Been several press conferences. Before we get to the press conference I just finished watching, we've got Xander Zayas and Abbas Baru coming together to unify the WBO and WBA light middleweight championships on the 31st of January, and it's going to be taking place on the Isle of Puerto Rico. I believe it's actually the third high profile fight that's going to be taking place in Puerto Rico in January. Amanda Serrano is making her return on the 3rd, and then Dalton Smith and Subrian Matias are going to be fighting over the WBC super lightweight, or the super lightweight title, or they also call it the light welterweight. I don't know what date that is. It might be the 18th of January, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that one's taking place in January as well. And then now you've got Xander Zayas and Abbas Baru unifying their titles. That's some good quality work right there. I can't I can't fault them. I know Xander has been saying for the longest, like, he wanted his first title defense to be in the Isle of Puerto Rico. So it's good that he gets to go home, back to his his home turf, his home country, his home province. Or I don't even know, are they technically a state of the United States at the moment, or maybe a supporting that? I'd have to double check. I can never remember. But either way, I know they also got affinities to the Caribbean as well. So yeah, January is obviously a significant month for me. Maybe I may have options to take a trip out there for those events, one of them or both. There's also the Germany card taking place on the 10th of January, a couple of days before my birthday, quite a significant birthday as well. So there's possibilities that I could make a little trip out there. I'll have to see what if old Matt from Queensbury can be nice and actually put me on the accreditation, so I can actually go out there, have a chat with I just guess some of the people out there, just do some content, get some extra eyes, and see if although I'm pretty sure, because it's going to be their first German-based their first German-based operation, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it from the UK outlets and the German outlets, so I probably won't get put on the list, but hey, we can always just have a chat and find out. But yeah, a lot of significant cards. There is also another card that I've heard is in play for the 31st of January, and I saw this online. I can't remember who broke the story, and I don't know 100% if it's confirmed, but Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson at £140, I believe. They've agreed. Both have signed deals for a fight to take place also, I believe, on the 31st of January. So that could be a very stacked day of boxing, and I'm pretty sure that there would also be a like a Matchroom or a Queensbury event on this side of the pond as well. So yeah, it would be a very full day. It will be a long day of boxing to cover, but we look forward to it. And I guess if we're going to stay in the realm of announced fights, we must also look at the fact that the next Magnificent 7 card has been confirmed, with Moses Atalma taking on Jermaine Franklin as the main event, and in the chief support is Hutchinson and Ezra Taylor. Now you guys know, I got a feeling I got a new name for him. So everyone knows that I'm not really too comfortable mentioning his I don't like his first name. I don't like the way it sounds when you say it. is very hard to put it in a sentence that don't really feel suspect, in my opinion. And I'm old school, but I'm gonna start trying to respect him. I'm gonna call him by his first name. So I'm gonna give you guys the option, right? So we're either gonna call him Will, Bill, or Willie Won't He. I'm gonna leave it in the comments and you guys can tell me which one of those I'm gonna start using moving forward for Hutchinson. But yeah, he's gonna be taking on Ezra Taylor, and that's a step up for Ezra. I'm confident that he's schooled enough to do it, but that is a very big step up. So it would be interesting to see how that goes on. But the Magnificent Seven cards are usually really good from top to bottom. I very rarely remember seeing one of those cards with any of those 7 fights actually being a dud. So I do expect this one to be more of the same. But yes, we'll leave it there in terms of the announcements that have been confirmed, or at least the ones that are supposedly, are finalized and just awaiting final ticks and whatnot. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But starting off January the right way. What can I say? Capricorn season, that's what you do. And since we just spoke about announcements, I think it's time we talk about shock announcements, or announcements that they haven't been confirmed, but we look at it and you say there's a lot of credible information from the people out there. Anthony Joshua is supposedly returning in December, likely the 13th of December at this point, so a month out, to take on Jake Paul on Netflix. Now, before, there was a issue with DAZN and him being an exclusive fighter on DAZN with a lifetime deal, and sort of DAZN having to be within any fights and stuff moving forward. But it looks as if things are to be believed, they've sorted out some kind of agreement to allow Netflix to have him on their platform to take on Jake Paul, who we know was supposed to be fighting Gervonta Davis on it was coming up this weekend. It was supposed to be tomorrow, technically, they was fighting. But yeah, we all kind of know what happened with that. He said that he wanted to go back out this year and he was looking for opponents. Now, we heard that they did offer Francis Ngannou, and he said absolutely not. Like, I'm not a part of the circus and the freak shows. Although, let's be honest, he did go in there with Tyson Fury after not having any boxing experience. So it's not that much far of a freak show between them to now a Jake Paul, who is, for all intents and purposes, a winning record pro boxer that has taken on and beaten all of your MMA brethren. So why not basically go in there and right the wrong for them? I think you could definitely call that a bit of a fumble. I ain't gonna lie. There was also other people. I know that I think they offered out Ryan Garcia as well. However, Oscar De La Hoya said, if it's not on the zone, it's not happening. Obviously, Oscar's there trying to ruin the bag for Ryan, but them two have had a frosty relationship, so that's not surprising. I think they offered Rolly Romero as well. I don't know if Rolly was available to take that without having to lose his titles or potentially lose the Manny Pacquiao fight. So as far as I'm aware, they've offered several groups of people, and the only person I guess that was logistically free would have been Ngannou and Anthony Joshua. And what it looks like, it seems that Anthony Joshua has decided to take it. Now, whether he would look at this as a tune-up or a exhibition, or something that's not quite going to be on the record, I don't know. If he does take the fight, I'm sorry, there is no level of Jake Paul at this point in time that can even be competitive in the ring with Anthony Joshua, regardless of how faded people believe he may be, how weak the chin may have become, all of that stuff there. Like, he's boxed at levels that Jake Paul has never envisaged, and it's not like Joshua is 46, 47 and now he's got no stamina and no athleticism left or whatnot. He's on the back's end of his athletic prime as a man, but he is still an incredibly disciplined and dedicated guy who is only he's only about 6 years older than Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul's he's going to be 29 in January, and Joshua's 35, 36, so 7 years, if that. Again, he's not far enough removed for this fight to even be competitive if it is a fight. Now, if it's an exhibition, they might have put rules in place. Who knows? We never know what they're going to kind of put in contracts. It is what it is. But I ain't gonna lie. Look, the guy ain't been in the ring in over about 15 months now. By the time this fight would come around, yeah, they say they want one more run at the big time, but if you're gonna have a quote-unquote tune-up, or a sort of just getting the hands wrapped, getting back in the flow of things, you could do much worse than this. And let's be honest, this shouldn't be a task whereby you exert all kinds of energy and you can't then go back into another fight in, say, February or March, because you wouldn't really need the big 12 to 16 week camp for this. I'm sorry, if Anthony Joshua did that, I would then have to say career's done, because you shouldn't be needing that amount of time to take on someone of the caliber of Jake Paul. And I say that with all respect to Jake Paul and how far he's come, but that is just something that is not the case. So this fight is literally, and I've seen many people say it, shout out to Muller on X, or one of my guys, we talk all the time. He said in a response to a chain I saw earlier, this fight goes as long as AJ wants. So that's exactly the way I feel. Whether AJ would want a couple rounds just to sort of get the feeling into the fight, or whether he would decide, look, I'm just going to end this the first moment I catch you, it's done. Like, it is what it is. But there's no way for Jake Paul, in all his delusions, to win that fight. But it would be a massive payday. So both of you get your money, and then AJ can move on to whatever it is that he wants to do after that. And if this is the route that he decides that he wants to go down moving forward, I'm not going to say anything. Like, he's done the hard graft, he's fought the hard fights, he's done everything in his career that he needs to do. He wants to be a 3-time champ like Ali and Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. I mean, yeah, if you Lennox was Lennox 3? No, Lennox was 2-time. Yeah, because he won it, lost it to Oliver McCall, then won it back and didn't. No, 3-time, because he lost it to because he also lost it to Tassim Rahman and then got it back again. So yeah, so he'll be 3-time. He'll be in their company. Ali, Holyfield, and Lewis. It's not bad company. I'm wondering, was Klitschko, Vladimir, was he a 3-time as well, or was he only 2? He might have only been a 2-time. So yeah, either way, it's a steamed company. But even if you don't get in there, like you've had a great career. So do you think? I'm not really hating on it. Let's see what kind of happens moving forward. Now we got to talk about the press conference that took place. It was, now it would have been maybe half an hour ago when it finished. You had the undercard for Eubank Benn 2. Some good people on the undercard. You had Richard Riakporhe and Tommy Welch going at each other. Tommy basically saying that Richard, he lost down at cruiserweight and then went into hiding, tried to come back and reinvent himself as a heavyweight, and now he's stepping up into the wrong division, and this is the first time he's actually fighting someone that's actually wants to fight him, that believes they can beat him, someone that's actually been calling him out for the last 10 months. Richard was like, well, who are you? Like, who have you fought? You're saying, oh, you haven't had opportunities. I took a step up in my 8th fight as a pro. Like, why are you still fighting on club shows 16 fights down the line? And you've got a famous dad. Like, what's going on here? Kind of thing. Which I found kind of interesting. It's funny. Richard said, I do my talking in the ring. I don't do my talking in these press conferences. But Tommy was able to draw him into a back and forth with the help of Derek Chisora, who was in the crowd as well. But I feel I can't lie, that is 1-0 to Tommy Welch, because he made Riakporhe do something Riakporhe said he wouldn't do. and that he engaged with him. He went into a back and forth. He even went into, I promise you it won't go past 4 or 5 rounds, I'm taking you out, like, and that's not really his MO. So the fact that he's had to, you know, drop his composure for that, I think maybe Tommy might have him in the mind state that he wants him in. Now, whether that's going to benefit him or not is a totally another story. But the fact that he was able to get that little bit of a victory there is interesting. Also on the undercard, you've got Adam Azim and Kurt Scooby. That was a very interesting exchange. Obviously, two Muslim faith men. But you had Kurt basically saying to both Adam and Ben Shalom, you guys, you don't believe what you're saying, because he basically said, there's no bass in your voice. You know, it sounded like me. Like, you guys, there's nothing there for me to really take and believe that you lot are really believing that you're going to win this fight. Adam was like, yeah, look, I've heard it all, blah, blah, blah. But this is, I think, is the first time that Adam's actually had someone properly engage with him in a way whereby he can build a genuine animosity. Now, whether that benefits him or not is another story. You know, the O'Hara Davis thing, they were friends and they didn't really want to fight and all that stuff. So O'Hara directed his fury at other people. Whereas, you know, this time, you know, Scooby is really putting it on Adam Azim. Pause. And I believe if we, this is definitely Adam's hardest test. 100%. I've seen Kurt Scooby fight on multiple occasions, and he's very powerful, very strong, hits hard, has good timing, very good fundamentals, and has a pretty decent defense. The only thing, sometimes his work rate can drop. He sometimes lacks the consistency needed, but this is going to be speed versus timing. If Scooby can get the timing, Azim could be in trouble. That's where I'm going to leave that one for the moment. You guys will get the pick on that a little bit later. But yeah, interesting. Looking forward to that. Then you had, you know, Jack Catterall and Echo Esserman, you know, doing their thing. I'm looking forward to the fight. I actually think the fight will be a decent fight. I think it will be a good chief support. But obviously, via the actual press conference itself, wasn't the moment for that to actually be to be displayed. Neither guy is a big talker like that, but yeah, Echo definitely delivers in the ring, and Jack has shown that if he has a good dance partner that is a pressure fighter, especially, that kind of forces him to fight, then the fights usually end up being pretty decent to watch. So yeah, all in all, the undercard was pretty good. And then we get to the you know, the main event, and you see all the people on the stage. You got Nigel Benn, you got Chris Eubank Sr., you got Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn, Rick Reno, and Ben Shalom. And we all was anticipating, I think everyone was saying to themselves, what's going to happen when you know, Jamie throws it to Eddie and he's like, okay, do you want to say some words? Because we was all expecting Chris to be like, oh, Eddie, we know, you know, there's no talking from you, Eddie. We don't care what you have. We was all expecting it. We was all waiting for it to happen and to come about. And I cannot lie, Eddie Hearn pulled a marketing masterstroke. He pulled a viral moment that is going to be retweeted, is going to be posted all over X, which I think I've already seen a little bit. It's going to be on Instagram, probably on TikTok as well. Like, when it got thrown over to him, you saw him readjust his mic like he was maybe about to say something, but then you see him just dip down to the side. He goes, all of a sudden he starts bringing out big flashcards, and it's like, good evening all. Since I'm not allowed to speak at these, I will be addressing you with such a, and it was just each one after the other. And it's funny because Chris Eubank Jr. didn't hear him say anything at first. He's like, oh, so he's finally learned his lesson. He's not going to speak. He understands that he is not to be heard from. Only until he finally then turns around and sees that Eddie's standing up with cue cards, basically telling the people what his promo is. And then Chris at this point is flustered. So he you know, he devolves into maybe throwing some cheap insults. Oh, he's there looking like an idiot with his flashcards. This is embarrassing, and you know, he's too scared to even speak against me. But it's like, at this point, Chris is off his game. Because Chris was expecting one thing, and we all know Chris is very meticulous in the way that he wants to control things and control the narrative. Eddie Hearn at that moment took the narrative away from Chris Eubank Jr. He took away his natural flow, and Chris isn't someone that is good at thinking on his feet and like being able to roll with the punches in that sense. He has everything meticulously thought out. Okay, they're going to do this, I'm going to do this to react to it. Then they're going to try this, I'm going to try that. There's nowhere in his mind that he thought that Eddie Hearn would stay silent with the, you know, with the somber music and the cue cards, and then basically be able to say everything that he wanted to say without being interrupted. Chris was steaming at this point. Now you couldn't even see, they didn't even put the camera on him, but just the way he was reacting, you could tell that he was not happy, that this was something he didn't anticipate. So I found that thoroughly entertaining. I thought that was a masterstroke, and that shows why, unfortunately, while, you know, Chris Eubank might have, you know, a lot of the cards in his favor in these situations, like Eddie Hearn is the marketing genius, he is the salesman, and he is the guy that you're going to remember, love him or hate him. And I have to rate it, I have to respect it. I thought that was funny. Chris Eubank Sr. on the stage for the first time in one of these press conferences, and obviously he's speaking about the fact that he refutes any claims that he was paid any money to attend the first fight. I think Nigel Benn said it, I think Eddie Hearn has said it, I think Conor may have alluded to it as well. He said, look, I'm just wanting to tell people, a father that takes money, there's nothing wrong with that, but a father that doesn't, that man needs to be studied. I've not taken a penny. That's what he says, that's what he maintained. And I liked when Jamie tried to ask him, he asked him for further comment on something else. I think after Chris Eubank Jr. was talking, he said, me done talk dreadlocks, in the way that he says it. Obviously, if it was me, I'd have said, me done talk. But it was, yeah, again, and then after he says that, you got Conor say Rastafari, you know. So they're all making, you know, they're all making light of it, even though it's obviously not a light and a laughing matter for those people that are, you know, of the Rastafarian faith and belief or whatnot. Which I actually believe that Chris is, even though he's a ballad, but you know, such is life. I just found the whole thing, it was one of the more entertaining ones that they've had. It wasn't the greatest, because obviously Chris is still complaining about other stuff now. Apparently his security guard has been blackballed from being allowed to attend the event, and he said it was directly by the hands of Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. I don't know about that, no comment. If that is the case, I don't think, if that's his, you know, his personal security guard, he should be allowed in the building. So I do hope that can be resolved if that is the situation. But again, it's another opportunity for Chris to complain about something, or, you know, sometimes he's saying he's just addressing inconsistencies and injustices, but after a while it does sound like either the boy that cried wolf or the man of 1,000 excuses. And it's weird because he keeps saying it like, I won the fight, yet there's been a lot more excuses coming from his side of the camp about things that have gone on than anywhere else. It's like when Conor's talking about, you know, he's saying, look, Chris, I feel like I took your soul. And Chris was like, how could you take my soul when I won the fight? He goes, because you were the one laid up in hospital for over 3 days and couldn't eat properly and was having to drink food through a straw. His dad, now he didn't bring this up, but I saw it on that Sun Sport thing with Carl Froch and Chris Eubank, and he even said in there, he goes, Carl says, well, you know, his son won, he was fine. He said he was touch and go in the hospital, in the ambulance. You was not there. You did not see it. And I was like, oh, okay. So what you're basically saying is that he was in a bad state in the ambulance, right? So in that case, so Conor maybe did take something from it. Maybe he didn't take his soul in the sense that, like, you're mine and I own you and I own every part of you. But maybe he took a piece of Chris Jr. that now he can never get back. Possibly. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see fight night. And you guys can tune in tomorrow evening to find out my prediction for the fight and the undercard as well. But look, I thought this press conference it had a different dynamic to some of the other ones, and that was a bit more infused to watch this one than I was on some of the others. I'll put it that way. I was at their second press conference. I think it was the fight week one. Initially for the first fight, I haven't been to any of the ones for this card, so I can't comment to, I guess, what the overall feel and the, you know, and the flow was in the building or whatnot. But yeah, overall, I think that it was a fun press conference to watch. I think there was a lot more layers this time. It wasn't the same formulaic one that they had over the previous. There was something different. So yeah, then when they had a little face off at the end between Junior and Connor, but then you see Senior step front and center, start swaying and motioning with the big smile on his face. Then you see Nigel Benn step in as well, and you see the sons and the fathers just all in a big face off together. Yeah, it was cinema. I enjoyed it. It was ruined a little bit by one of the security guards that was getting too close to Nigel. He's like, move out the way, man, you're blocking the view, you're blocking the shot. And I think eventually he did, if someone did tell him, oh, step back, step out of the camera line. Because, you know, Nigel and Chris Senior weren't going to throw hands. They weren't going to do anything. They're not there to mess up the event for their sons. So yeah, I thought he kind of ruined that moment slightly, but other than that, it was fun and it was enjoyed watching it. But yeah, look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys thought of the press conference, you guys thought of the events, and also speaking of some of the announcements they spoke about earlier on in the day, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Leave them down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that hype button, because it does do stuff and I appreciate it all the while. But for that being said, thank you for watching. Until the next one, Hardcore Casual out.